Hey, what's happening, Strat fans? It's me, Colonel Strat, the Strategy Extraordinaire, and here today, I figured I was going to show you some Kislev tactics for the new DLC. I will say they have one unit that is just leagues above the others, and I'm going to show them here. I got the two new regiments of renown, along with Mother Stankia herself, and her Hag Witch Lord or Hero, which is actually they're both pretty good because they start mounted. And their mounts are really powerful too. They have a high range damage that's armor piercing, magical as well, so it does really good against demons, which is who we're going up against. Anything that has a lot of physical resist, they're going to be really good at taking out. The things in the woods, these guys here, with this special regiment of renown has this effect here, Dark Blood Tainted, which reduces healing by 100%. So pretty much any unit like from a Nurgle or even like Tyrion could get their healing reduced insanely by that contact effect. So it's this unit right here is probably the best way to deal with for Kislev, to deal with any like unit that out heals themselves, like Gorst. Him healing his zombies up, out healing it. This could deal with that. Of course, it's just one unit, so you're not gonna, the regular ones don't have that dark blood tainted trait. But other than that, I feel like the Akashina ambushers, these ones are called the Wolf Hearts. These Akashina ambushers are probably the Kislev's star unit in this DLC. Plus, they look cool. They're 30 missile strength, armor piercing, 150 range, and as well as a decent weapon strength. Not the greatest armor, but they are pretty good in melee as well. So I think they are the stars of this DLC, and you will see in this showcase. So we're going up against the Nurgle faction, Nurgle and Tzeentch, and we're gonna do our best. But I'm pretty sure you're gonna see how insane these things can be. These new units can be against demon units, which is probably what Kislev needed, especially with these Hag Witch heroes. I always pick the one of Shadows, just because it's a little better than the others. All right, let's go up against. Of course, the Akshinas are the only ones that I will actually use. Are the only ones I'll actually use in Vanguard deployment, just because they're that good. And they also, these ones here, the Wolf Hearts, let's slow this down. Wolf Hearts have this pack trap, which has 3 uses, can be used really well, and then we can use it to keep them bogged down, and then send these guys in here. And of course, this one also gets this Foresight ability, which allows us to dampen their missile resist. Alright, let's get there. And then I will use the Mind Razor to buff them up with magical attacks, which is also really good to use. Anything to go against demons, like the magical attacks, are just going to pump through their physical resist. And like, look at that. Look at that. Alright, the Akashina ambushers are going to stay. Mother Stankia does have this heal, which can be really good. And she also has this Spirit Bear magic missile as well. The heal's not as good as, say, Nurgle's healing, but, him casting Flesh of Abundance with the Beowulf on him does not give him any health, and that's always great to see. And they just chomp up infantry so good. So good. Even though they have poison through the Nurgle, they're still doing really well, but you gotta watch out, because we're taking a lot of casualties from Mother Stankia and the Hag Witch. That's why we're taking a lot of casualties. So you gotta watch out for the little spirit pots, because that does do a lot of damage to your own units. Yeah, but we pretty much won this engagement. The Akshinas, even though they have even though they have less health than the plague bearers and the Zinch blue horrors. Even though both of these units have less points and they cost less, they are more effective against them because they have Mother Ostankia and the Hag Witch with Lord of Shadows. That's pretty much the bane of the demon's existence with that spell here, with the Mind Razor spell. So I'm going to show you up against a little bit heavier of a demon force using the new what's the name of it? Elemental of Beasts that they get as well, which is really, really powerful. So let's go into that one now, shall we? Alright, and here we are with it. So it really starts filling up the Hag Witch Skinwalker vibe with this thing right here, the Incarnate Elemental of Beasts. It looks like something that an evil witch would summon up, you know? Even though she's technically neutral because she is trying to save Kislev, it gives it that. And also these things in the woods, it just, you know, they glow like they're kind of an undead unit, but they're not. It looks like their flesh is just patched together. So we're gonna show how useful the Incarnate Elemental Beast is here. This has magical attacks, and this is just a regular one. So it has magical attacks imbued, magical attacks imbued. It has this Incarnate Flock of Doom, which is a direct damage. I think it happens. I don't know if it's a spell. It sounds like a spell. This is my first time using it, Strat fans. It also has a nice physical resistance buff, but the big whopping damage it has is what makes it so powerful. And you know, we have again the Mordheim Beowulfs, which are really, really good, but the regular ones don't have that effect, but they still have a nice physical resist, Woodsman, and causes fear, and they have that bonus for his infantry, which gives them so much more weapon damage, and the weapon damage is really good. Even though they can't really be used as a frontline troop because they have so few entities and very, very small health pool compared to other infantries, they just do so well. And again, our Akshina ambushers are really shown to be the MVPs, just because they have a decent speed at 36, so they can get away from most infantry units that comes close to them, and they can't fire while moving, but they do have a high damage. 23, even for these guys, 23 missile damage with armor piercing is insane. They have the Kislev trait by our blood, which is always overpowered, and then of course the Wolf Hearts have that buffed up to 30, which makes them even better. And then of course we have Stankia, and then the Hag Witch with Shadows. I always do the Shadows one. Death and Wilds are the others. Mother Stankia herself has the lore of Wilds, but it's this right here. This special trait that she can get, the special ability she can get, reduces the missile chance, missile block chance, missile resistance, and armor, which makes it better for our Akshina ambushers to deal damage. So it really, really augments the Akshinas, and they're really such a good unit because these are like these can be your solution to Streltsy, because you know Kislev for the longest time has had Streltsy lines that they don't fire, even though Streltsy are a good unit because they have that double thing. These guys are too, because they still have a decent weapon strength for melee that's armor piercing as well, and I feel like they're actually better because they have a bit longer range. They do about the same missile attack with armor piercing as well, and they're still decent in melee. So I think they're probably good, and they can fire up and over because it's a crossbow. So let's go into the battle, and then we're going to start by opening fire on the bloodletters, and then we're going to have these guys charge up. Mother Stankia charge up, and then the Incarnate is going to attack that great unclean one just to see how good he is. And we're going to fire on those pink horrors. Okay, let's get them. Stop them moving. Let's get these buffed up. Always works. Let's get that buffed up. Alright, and then let's reduce their missile resist here. Now that their missile resist is reduced, or they're completely crumbled, let's go. Alright, and then we can send the Akshinas up against these. Alright, now that we have them all crumpled up in there, you gotta make sure that you don't have these guys fire into your clops of infantry or even things in the woods, because they're just going to cause them to shatter. But the things in the woods have a really good speed too, so they can catch up to missile units really fast. That's what I've known. So they're, because they're a really speedy unit, they could do that. Incarnate Elemental Beast always has the Flock of Doom, I think, on this guy. Yeah, he's got the Flock of Doom causing direct damage to him, so that gives him an edge. And then if we have these guys go up to him, and he's not going to get any more healing done, because he does have that healing spell that he can do, in Cloud of Flies too. But if we can get that healing done to him, yeah, there we go. He's got that healing reduction. He's gonna also not going to be able to use his heals, so he's gonna, just, wither away, just like that. And that's pretty much it. All these units synergize really well, so I will give Mother Ostenkia that. But it does feel a little bit lacking without like a proper Lord, and you do have to filter in some Kislev units to make it feel really good, because amplifying these with like Zarguard or Ice Guard will help a lot. Having some hybrid units, because Mother Ostenkia, even though it feels like you want to play like a whole wilderness theme, you can't really do that because the wilderness units don't really go up past tier 2. And then what do you do when you go out up against like Exalted Bloodletters, or you're going up against dwarves, or heavily armored enemies? You have the Akshinas, but you need some tier 3 units like Zarguard or like Ice Guard. Alright, so that was the 2 tactics. I hope you guys enjoyed these, and as you've seen, the Akshina Ambushers are the MVP. The Things in the Woods are really good as well. The Incarnate is decent, even though it's got a semi health pool. It's not super great. It does have that augment, that debuff, or like direct damage spell that does it to everything around it. The Flock of Doom that just follows it around, so that gives it an edge in combat. But it's gonna need support to be able to deal with anything as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And remember that if you like it, to like the video, share it with your friends, leave a comment down below, and I'll get back to you. And maybe subscribe to the channel if you like what I do. And I'll see you guys later on in the week when I go into my next Lord guide. And remember to keep it strategic, Strat fans. Colonel out.